Boulder's Cannabis. Welcome to the City of Boulder's Cannabis and Licensing Advisory Board for February 23rd. Let's do, um, I have your annotated agenda here. So what's first? The meeting, instructions for meeting.
Yes, the instructions for meeting and rules of decorum. I'm going to share my screen. One moment. Good afternoon. The city has engaged with community members to co-create a vision for productive, meaningful, and inclusive civic conversations. This vision supports physical and emotional safety for community members, staff, and board and commission members, as well as democracy for people of all ages, identities, lived experiences, and political perspectives. More about this vision and the project's community engagement process can be found at the link on your screen. The following are examples of rules of decorum found in the Boulder Revised Code and other guidelines that support this vision. These will be upheld during the meeting. All remarks and testimony shall be limited to matters related to city business. No participant shall make threats or use other forms of intimidation against any person. Obscenity, racial epithets, and other speech and behavior that disrupts or otherwise impedes the ability to conduct the meeting are prohibited. Participants are required to sign up to speak using the name that they are commonly known by, and individuals must display their whole name before being allowed to speak online. Currently, audio testimony is permitted online with video for our applicants. The Q&A function should only be used for technical questions to staff and should not be used for public comment. All right, 1 second here. I'm having some difficulty getting this out. Apologies. Speaking of technical difficulties, one moment. All righty. I do apologize for that brief break. Shall I start member roll call?
Yes, I noticed there's a question in the Q&A already. If you want to explain to Zach.
Certainly. So thank you. As noted, it's for technical difficulties. So the reason why your camera is not being viewed right at this time. Thank you, Manager Darrow. She's typing an answer as we speak.
Okay. Okay.
It's not, yeah, we don't usually address the Q&A
Right.
in verbal manner. Chair Kunzman.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead with roll call. Member Foster.
Here.
Member Keegan, as we noted, is absent. Chair Kunzman.
Present.
Member Doble did email. She is absent. Member DiCarlo.
Here.
Member Ewing.
Present.
Vice Chair Gross.
I'm here.
Ex officio Krolak emailed that he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it today. Ex officio Riddell. Ex officio member Riddell, can you record your presence, please?
You're mute. Oh, there you. You're
We
still,
can't hear you.
yeah, even though your little mute symbol isn't on, you're still mute.
Chair Kunzman, since we can actually see him and he has kind of given a thumbs up while he works on his audio,
Okay.
are you okay with recording him as present?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You have a quorum.
Okay. Thank you.
Agenda item
And
number 2 is general public comments to the board. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. If there's anyone here to provide public comment for general comments to the board, please use raise hand function on your screen. Again, this is just general public comment to the board. Chair Kunzman, so far I'm seeing none. Last call for general public comment. Chair Kunzman, we have none.
Okay, thank you.
Continuing on for you, sir.
Thank you. All right, you ready for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hereby call a hearing to order as the review of licensing applications submitted by application of the applicant, the 525 or 525 dispensary, doing business as the 525 dispensary. Could the licensing clerk read the matter into the record?
Certainly. Public hearing and consideration of an application filed, excuse me, technical difficulty there, on September 23rd, 2025, from the 525 Dispensary LLC, doing business as the 525 Dispensary at 525 Canyon Boulevard, Boulder, Colorado, 80203. Herbal Garden LLC, 100% parent company, with Ronald Garrenti, 50% owner, John Bowman, 18% owner, Lance Garrenti, 11% owner, Dennis Nurek, 11% owner, and Joseph and City, 10% owner, with a premises mailing address for a new recreational dispensary. If you are here for this matter, please use the raise hand function and we will admit you into the room. You will receive a request to promote to panelist. There we go.
Can we ask them to put their full name on their
Yeah, I
screen?
have. I can help once they get in.
Oh,
John, would
okay.
you go ahead and unmute, please, and turn your camera on?
Hey,
Hi there.
hi guys.
Do me a favor and spell your last name for me, John.
Nottoli.
Whoa.
Okay, so you've got it looks like you're in here twice, once on a phone and once on the
Yeah,
computer.
because we weren't sure if it was connecting to the computer. Let me exit the phone.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else that you will be bringing
Let me,
forward, Mr.
We're
Nottoli?
having audio issues here.
Turn it back in. Go back in your phone. We'll just do it on that one.
There we go. Are you able to hear us?
Hello?
Are you able to hear us?
Can't hear me.
I think it's working.
We can hear you fine.
But he can't hear us. Or
Just do it on your phone, John. Okay.
John, if you mute your computer and use your phone for the audio, that could work.
Mhm.
I don't have the option to do
Can you hear us?
Okay, go ahead and mute your computer
All right.
Okay.
and then use the phone for audio. Can we test, please?
Hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yep,
but
but
still,
we've got that back feed.
That's so weird.
Yeah, we can't get the computer speakers working, but the phone is not.
well, actually, that's working now. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, then something.
I just got to keep the phone further away from the computer.
There we go. John, will you be calling anyone else for this matter today for your application to testify?
Ronald Garrenti is here.
Oh, shoot. The feedback's back.
It's Ron Garrenti.
Ron, okay, but he's there in the room with you?
Yes, ma'am.
He is the one on the camera.
Yeah, there you are. Hey, John.
Hi.
All right, we'll get you going. All right, Chair Kunzman, I think we can maybe possibly make this work.
Okay, so just to make sure, other than the two of you, that's all that you expect.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Um, All right, the Regulatory License Division and the applicant are hereby admitted as interested parties for this proceeding. Were there any other persons who filed a written entry of appearance?
No,
No.
Chair Kunzman.
Thank you. Let me see, I'm jumping down to this is a public hearing before the Cannabis Licensing and Advisory Board of the City of Boulder to determine whether or not the application of applicant 525 Dispensary LLC, doing business as the 525 Dispensary, for a new recreational dispensary license shall be granted or denied. This hearing is conducted pursuant to City of Boulder ordinances, the laws of the state of Colorado, and the rules of the Cannabis Licensing Advisory Board of the City of Boulder. The purpose of this hearing is to take public comment and receive information, data, and testimony from interested parties in order to enable this board to make the findings and reach the conclusions required to be made by law as to whether or not the license applied for shall issue. Interested parties are the applicant acting through the owners and manager of business, as well as the city acting through its licensing division. A record is being made of these proceedings. Those who desire to be heard shall identify themselves by stating their name, spelling their first and last name, and stating their pertinent address. They also shall be sworn in by the licensing clerk. Before we begin, do any board members have or believe they may have a conflict with respect to this application?
Oh, sorry. Were you asking if any board members had a question?
Yes. Well, if they
Yes.
have
Okay.
any conflicts of interest.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, then I do not.
Okay. So double checking the room, Adam, just to make sure, no conflicts. Uh,
I'm not seeing any hands raised, Chair Kunzman.
okay, cool, thanks. Um, all right. Are there any attorneys who will represent the interested party?
No, sir.
We got the feedback back again, by the way.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
no, sir.
That's okay. We heard you. This proceeding will have the following order. First, we will take public comment. Second, we will hear testimony from the city staff, then the applicant. Each presentation of testimony shall be limited to 10 minutes unless good cause is shown for additional time. After each interested party's testimony, the board and every other interested party will have the opportunity to ask questions of that party. Finally, each interested party will have the opportunity to rebuttal testimony. The board will have the opportunity to ask then additional questions of each interested party following the rebuttal testimony. Following hearing the evidence, testimony and presentation of evidence will close, and the board will deliberate. Although deviating from this process is not anticipated, the board reserves the right to alter this process where doing so promotes the fact-finding of the board or is in the interest of justice. That said, are there any objections to this order of procedure? And Kristen, are we going to leave the rules of decorum up the whole time, or
I'm sorry, I thought that I had taken it down.
no? They're still. Is everybody seeing the same thing I'm seeing?
Yes.
Okay, just
I apologize. I tried to figure out how to get it down.
it's all right. I mean, we can see everybody at the top of the screen if we scroll back.
No, I need to get it down. So,
Ah, there it goes.
there we go.
Okay, good.
Apologies for that.
Thank you. All right, is the applicant ready to proceed? John, and did you say is Ron? John and
We've got to mute. I can't hear.
yeah, here you go.
Ron.
Okay, whoops.
Sorry.
Don't go near that computer.
Yeah, Ron Garianti.
Okay, we'll make this work somehow.
Sorry.
Is the city ready to proceed?
We are.
Okay. Would you like to swear in the applicant?
Certainly. Ron, may I have you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I state your
I,
name.
Ron Guarenti,
Please spell your name and provide your address of record.
Ron, R-O-N, Guarenti, G-U-A-R-I-E-N-T-I.
Hmm.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. And your address of record, please.
1 Canyon View Drive, Pueblo, Colorado.
Thank you. And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is true and correct?
Yes, sir.
And do you also swear or affirm that the poster was picked up and posted the entire 10 days as required?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Can I interrupt?
Yeah,
Please.
please do.
I'm going to make a suggestion that John logs off and logs back in. You know, the standard IT, did you turn the computer off? You know,
Yeah.
The audio may be okay. It sorry, Ron, would you say something now?
Hello?
No,
Oh darn. Okay.
Let's
I
take a
thought we
look
had
then.
it. Gosh.
Roberto, if he does so, do we need to swear him back in or?
nope.
Okay, good.
No,
I
as
didn't
long
think
as you
so.
can visually recognize that the person who once was sworn in is the same person. John, if you can just shut off and log back in, sir.
Okay, we'll do that on both devices. Or
Thank you.
While we're waiting, if that doesn't work, I might also suggest that they use headphones for the speaker,
Yeah,
or just mute the speaker when they're talking into the phone.
or AirPods.
Yeah,
Either might work.
yeah. As long as it's not loud enough that the phone picks it up.
Yeah. Well, maybe with AirPods, they wouldn't need to have the audio. Or I don't know. I guess it runs through the phone, doesn't it?
Yeah.
While we're waiting, you have some interesting instruments on your wall there, Lucas. A banjo and it's a little guitar. What is that?
They're both little versions of of the normal instrument. One's a banjolele, the other one's a ukulele.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Okay. We've got
I got
John back in.
Can you guys hear my audio now?
Yeah, we did. We can.
Perfect. I'm using the phone as the microphone. Thank you.
All right. I am attempting to promote John to panelist, but the one that the hand is raised on, not the other two, which I believe might be the phone.
Yeah, that's true. He's on 3 times.
can you hear us? Well,
Hmm. Still the feedback.
I'm gonna get the phone out of there and see what we can do. Is that all right, John? You've got two phones plus the so I'm gonna remove the phones and we'll see. Oh well, you're gonna have to remove yourself because if I boot you, you won't be able to get back in. I don't want that. Or if you're hearing us through the phone, you can just use the screen on your phone if you'd like. Let me see if we can do it this way. If you can hear me by the phone that's still logged in, I am trying to promote you to panelist to see if we can do it that way. Chair Kunzman, I'm working to ask them to unmute in the background.
Okay.
Ron, if you can hear me through the phone, can you please raise your hand or turn on the camera on the phone? Chair Kunzman?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Roberto could weigh on this. Can I mute myself briefly and then give them a call?
Yes, please. Or Roberto's okay.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
absolutely great idea.
All right, thank you.
Well, Greg, since you were briefly up on the screen because you said something, you also have interesting things behind you. Is that your
What
own
you see
artwork?
there is that's an electronic drum set. I've
Mhm.
always played drums as a hobby, but not really professionally, except maybe in a garage band for a little while.
Mhm.
But I keep them around for when I have a chance to sit down and just turn on some music on the headphones and practice and try to get better. Uh, been playing since I was 14, haven't gotten all that much better, but I've had my moments where things felt a little better.
That
And
was just a
man,
few. That
just
was
got
just a few years ago, though, Greg, wasn't it?
yeah, just a few. My uncle was a professional drummer, so
Mm.
that he's a professional jazz drummer and played Broadway shows and things like that. So that kind of was a I was actually in high school, in junior high school band. I wanted to play trombone, and my arm was too short to reach the lower notes. So they told me I had to switch instruments. And I said, well, let me try drums. And I had a
Right.
lot of fun. My uncle gave me a real appreciation for it. And he was into all kinds of music, not just the kind of jazz that he played. He understood all of it and valued all of it. So it was really, really great thing to
Hmm.
have.
Well, I played the French horn, but I guess I didn't have to have long arms for that, did I?
Yeah, it's that trombone slide. I couldn't get it all the way out to hit the lower notes. And my band teacher, keep in mind, this is in junior high school. He didn't have time to mess with that. So he just said, if you want to stay in band, switch instruments. And at that time, wasn't really committed. I just thought the trombone was a cool instrument. I liked it. So
Are
haven't
you
gone
aware
back to
of
it.
the Atlas Institute on campus?
No.
It's an acronym for something, but
Mr. Natoli, I'm
all right.
sorry.
Okay, we'll come
I'm
back.
sorry to interrupt.
No,
Mr.
no,
Natoli, can
please
you
do.
unmute and show your camera? Are you okay? Can we hear you? Can you say something? I can hear you through my phone, but I can't hear you. You may have to hang up with me, hon. All right. Thanks. Bye. Okay, we're gonna try this.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, that
There
was,
you
we can
are.
hear you but not see you.
Okay, let's see.
Turn your
Meeting
camera on.
setting.
Good
All it
job,
has is
Kristen.
What'd you say, Adam?
Oh, I just said good job, Kristen. It seems like it's much better now.
Oh, I know them very well. So having
okay.
this is
We
kind
can
of
go over there and get on video. Okay, cool.
all right. So we can hear you just fine, but we can't see you.
So we're gonna
Um,
go on the computer and get on the video there. We're going
okay,
across the studio.
perfect. Gotcha.
Hopefully that won't cause feedback again.
Yeah, as long as the computer's muted, the audio for the computer's muted, we should be all right.
Yeah. I almost say we should just go double electric. Yeah, we'll do that next time. Okay, can you guys hear us?
We can hear you, just not see.
Okay.
Do we need
But
to?
let me try something here.
There you go.
All right. As long as you've muted your computer and you accept my promote to panelist, we should be good.
Yeah, I'll take yours. How's that?
We
The
can't
audio's
see.
the audio's great. Still can't see you. Do we
Now you
have?
should.
There you
Oh,
go.
there we
There you
go.
go.
I was just going to ask Roberto
Wow,
if he
sorry
needs.
about that, guys.
That's okay.
Technology.
All right, you've
Okay.
been sworn in. Are you ready to give testimony?
Ron, will anyone else be giving testimony today besides yourself?
No.
No. Perfect. All right.
Great. So
Thank you.
just to make sure, so there's Ron and John, but just one of you.
Yeah, Ron's the owner.
I'm the owner, yes.
Okay, and you have the cap on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the other fellow does not.
Oh, I do, but mine's black.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Okay, then Ron, because your screen says John, so
Oh,
Because through my email.
yeah.
okay, well, that's fine. Are you ready to go? Oh, no, we lost somehow. There we go.
Except for I misspelled it, but close enough right now.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me just make sure don't need to say anything else before. Kristen, remind me if I need to say anything else officially before they go ahead and give testimony.
Yeah, you should just follow along with the script
I know we got
after
thrown
the
off that.
swearing in.
Okay. Well, we already found out there's nobody else speaking for the interested party. Want to make sure I'm not jumping too far down here. The board has the preliminary findings from the city staff, included in the materials. Other than the CLAB hearing packet, are there any other documents, reports, or other written materials any interested party wishes to have entered as evidence into the record?
None for the city.
Okay. Ronnie,
We're
you good with that also?
fine. Yep.
Okay. We will begin by taking public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker and is subject to the board's rules of procedure and decorum. For each commenter, the board will have the opportunity to ask questions. Are there any members of the general public who wish to provide public comment?
I'm seeing none, Chair Kunzman.
Okay. Wait, was somebody say something? Okay. With no public comment, we will move on to the presentation by the licensing division of city staff. The board has accepted the preliminary findings of the licensing staff into evidence. Do the licensing division or any other city staff wish to provide testimony, or do the preliminary findings represent the city's position?
Preliminary findings represent the city's position. Thank you.
And are you speaking for all city staff, I'm assuming?
At this time, yes, sir.
Okay. Does the applicant have any questions for the city staff?
No, sir.
And does the board have any questions or comments for city staff?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Lucas.
Okay, cool. I just noticed on page 34 of our packet that you marked no for having implemented the good neighbor plan or any odor plans that were required by law. Could you speak to that? Is that just because they're not required yet?
We were planning on we were planning on going ahead after we opened to go ahead and do that to all of our neighbors within 500 feet. After we got the license, yes, correct.
Okay. Same with the odor and ventilation.
Absolutely, yes.
And then since this is for the city staff, is that common or is that uncommon or how does that fit in with previous
No,
applications?
that fits in. Sometimes we do have ones that do it well in advance. Some of them wait until they're ready to do their grand opening, and they usually do it a couple days in advance. And as far as an odor control plan, the rule is that the odor, cannot go outside the envelope of the building in any way, shape, or form. Must have sufficient and adequate ventilation. However, with a dispensary, that looks a little bit different than it would for a cultivation.
And then just a silly question, when there's a question that may not be applicable, wouldn't it be wise to put not applicable in that same page 34?
Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Oh, okay. Okay,
I can't alter an application once it comes
right,
in.
right. All right, let me go back up to the,
I apologize about that
oh,
for
that's
the
okay.
confusion.
Let me go back.
Location was formerly the Healing Center. Do I have that correct?
No, it was
Oh,
next
okay.
door to it.
Okay. Thank you.
But the perimeters are basically the same for the 1,000 feet and 500 feet exclusion zones.
Say it again, Lucas.
I was just saying that because the locations are basically the same, that the 500 feet and 1,000 feet exclusion zones are pretty much the same. It's not super relevant, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? And this is just questions really for um, the city's position at this point in time, because we're going to hear from the applicant in a moment.
Mhm. The zoning review is on page 21 of your packet. This is a complete application, and we are just awaiting the verdict from the board in order to keep proceeding. This applicant has been fantastic to work with.
Thank you.
Okay. Does the applicant wish to present testimony or present evidence?
No, Kristen's been absolutely outstanding walking us through the process. So, no, everybody's been great. The whole city of Boulder has been.
Okay. So you're good with everything that the materials that we have, and you don't feel a
No,
need to
sure.
add anything else?
No, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. Where am I? Does the city have any questions for the applicant?
Not at this time.
Does the board have any other questions? I know you've already asked one, but any questions of the applicant?
Anything?
That was a no.
That was a no.
Okay.
Oh.
And this can include the ex officio members too, if you have any questions. Okay. Does the city wish to present any rebuttal evidence or testimony?
No, sir.
Any final questions from the board for city staff? And does the applicant wish to present any rebuttal evidence or testimony?
No.
Any final questions from the board for the applicant? Gonna double check my screen here. Everybody's hand is down, right, Kristen?
I did not see any hands raised.
With no further rebuttal, the testimony and evidentiary portion of this hearing is hereby closed. The board will now move into deliberation. Does any board member wish to kick off the deliberation? Adam?
If there's any further discussion or deliberation, of course we should have that. But to me, it seems like we have a complete application. I haven't heard any unusual concerns raised. It seems as if the requirements are met, and so at an appropriate time, I'd be willing to move to approve the application.
Okay, let's see if anybody else has comments, or I will hold that. So, Kristen,
Yes.
at this point in time, should we, or I guess they need to be able to, will the applicant still be able to um talk I don't know.
Once you close for deliberation, it's your floor to discuss for each.
Yeah, so should we probably mute them? They can still,
Well, he could, no, they can hear.
no, I know they can hear, but
He muted himself.
oh, okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay. I couldn't tell who there was
Mm-hmm.
something that came across, but um, all right, other folks, any questions? Because this is the first time we've gone. Some of you have gone through this process.
I read through the application and it all looked straightforward to me and went through all the requirements and explained how they were met with pictures and diagrams and many pages. So I understood it. I don't have any questions about it, but this is the first time I'm doing this.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It was a pretty complete application.
Thank you.
All right, just checking in. Jacques, Greg, uh, who else hasn't? Adams, Tom.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
pretty straightforward to me. Yeah, I didn't see anything to question on this application on my side of things. So it's good.
It looks very complete and thorough to me. We appreciate having all that information in front of us. So, thank you.
All right. Can we get a motion to approve or deny the application?
Yes, based on the application itself and my review of it, the comments of staff, and also the testimony and discussion here today, I would move to approve the application or approve issuance of the license.
Okay. Second on that?
I will second.
Okay, and I'm assuming we need our person by person vote. Kristen?
Yeah, I can do a roll call vote if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Okay. Member Foster,
I vote yes.
Member Ewing,
I vote yes.
Member DiCarlo,
Vote yes.
Vice Chair Gross,
Yes.
and Chair Kunzman.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. The next steps, Ron, I will be reaching out to you in the next couple days to go over the next steps, get inspections started, and we can talk about the timeline for that, okay?
I won't let you down, guys.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
With that vote, this ends the application hearing pursuant to board procedure. The board will work with the city attorney's office to prepare a final written decision reflecting the decision and rationale. And thank you everyone for their participation.
Thank you for your time, guys.
All right. Kristen, remind me where what page?
Agenda item number 4 starts on page 117 with your hearing procedures outline and script.
Right. Scrolling down. And ignoring a phone call. All right. I hereby call a hearing to order as the review of licensing applications submitted by application of applicant The Brand House LLC doing business as The Brand House. Could the licensing clerk please read the matter into the record?
Agenda item number 4, public hearing and consideration of an application filed on December 16th, 2025 from The Brand House LLC doing business as The Brand House, 4725 Nautilus Court, South, Unit 1, Boulder, Colorado 80301. Michael Trojan and Kirk Jordan members with a business mailing address of 9991 West 71st Avenue, Arvada, Colorado 80004 for a new hemp manufacturing type license. If you are here on this matter, can you please use your raise your hand function and we will admit you into the room? I am sending a promote to panelists. Just go ahead and accept. Mr. Jordan, will anyone else be joining you if they can raise their hands? We have one more coming in, Mr. Yeager. I'm promoting to panelists, just accept. There we go. And we have an Ortiz. One moment, please. I promote them in. All right, there we go. I believe everyone is now in the room, Chair Kunzman.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Were there any other persons who filed a written entry of appearance?
No, there was not.
Okay. This is a public hearing before the Cannabis Licensing and Advisory Board of the City of Boulder to determine whether or not the application of applicant The Brand House LLC doing business as The Brand House for a new hemp products manufacturing license shall be granted or denied. This hearing is conducted pursuant to City of Boulder ordinances, laws of the state of Colorado, and the rules of the Cannabis Licensing and Advisory Board of the City of Boulder. The purpose of this hearing is to take public comment and receive information, data, and testimony from interested parties in order to enable this board to make the findings and to reach the conclusions required to be made by law as to whether or not the license applied for shall issue. Interested parties are the applicant acting through the owner and manager of a business, as well as the city acting through its licensing division. A record is being made of these proceedings. Those who desire to be heard shall identify themselves by stating their name spelling their first and last name, and stating their pertinent address. They also shall be sworn in by the licensing clerk. Before we begin, do any board members have or believe they may have a conflict with respect to this application? Okay. Seeing none, correct, Kristen?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any attorneys who will represent the interested party?
No.
Okay. This proceeding will have the following order. First, we will take public comment. Second, we will hear testimony from the city staff, then the applicant. Each presentation of testimony shall be limited to 10 minutes unless good cause is shown for additional time. After each interested party's testimony, the board and every other interested party will have the opportunity to ask questions of that party. Finally, each interested party will have the opportunity to rebuttal testimony. The board will have the opportunity to ask then additional questions of each interested party following their rebuttal testimony. Following hearing the evidence, testimony and presentation of evidence will close and the board will deliberate. Although deviating from this process is not anticipated, the board reserves the right to alter this process where doing so promotes the fact-finding of the board or is in the interest of justice. That said, are there any objections to this order of procedure? I'll take that head shake as a
No,
no.
sir.
Okay. Is the applicant ready to proceed? And is the city ready to proceed? Applicant?
Yes.
City?
Yes, sir.
All right. The board has the preliminary findings from the city staff included in the materials. Other than the CLAB hearing packet, are there any other documents, reports, or other written materials any interested party wishes to have entered as evidence into the record?
Chair Kunzman, if I may,
Sure.
I need to back up a bit so I can swear them in.
Okay. Oh, you're right. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
That's in parentheses, swearing in.
Yes, sir, it is. All right, Mr. Jordan, let's start with you. Can you please state your name, spell your name, and give your address of record, please?
Kirk Jordan, KIRKJORDAN, 17675 Charter Pines Drive, Monument, Colorado, 80132.
Perfect. Would you raise your hand, please? Right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
Yes.
And do you also swear and affirm that the poster for this location was up for the required 10-day posting period?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll go next on my screen. Mr. Yeager, can you please state your name, spell your name, and give your address of record, please?
Yes, my name is Zach Yeager. My name is spelled Zachyeager. My address is 1600 Colorado Boulevard, Denver, Colorado, 80220.
Can you raise your right hand, please? I state your name.
I, Zach Yeager,
Do swear or affirm that the testimony I am about to give is true and correct?
do swear and affirm that the testimony I'm about to give is true and correct.
Thank you. And Sean Ortiz, can you please state your name, spell your name, and give your address of record, please?
Sean Ortiz, SEANORTIZ. Address of record is 22810 Moreno Valley, Countryside Way, Moreno Valley, California, 92557.
Thank you. Would you raise your right hand and repeat after me, please? I state your name.
I, Sean Ortiz.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before the Cannabis Licensing and Advisory Board is true and correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Everyone's sworn in, Chair Kunzman.
Okay, thank you for that reminder. Are there any other, I think we have the answer because I already said it. Are there any other interested parties who will be witnesses for the interested party? Any one of you can answer that.
I see someone raised with a Mike's iPhone.
Yeah, we need him in here.
That's
I
my
am
Trojan.
promoting. Yep, I am promoting to panelist. Just need to accept. Perfect. All right. Mr. Trojan, can I get you to, are you driving currently, sir?
No, I'm pulled over.
Okay, thank you. All right. Can I get you to please state your name, spell your name, and give your home address or your address of record, please?
Yes, I'm Michael Trojan at 9991 West 71st Ave in Arvada, Colorado, 80004.
Great. And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give the Cannabis Licensing Advisory Board is true and correct?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Seeing no other raised hands, Chair Kunzman.
Okay. So the board has preliminary findings from the city staff, including in the materials. As I was saying before, are there any other documents, reports, or other written materials any interested party wishes to have entered as evidence into the record?
The city does not.
Okay, well, we'll begin by taking public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker and is subject to the board's rules of procedure and decorum. For each commenter, the board will have the opportunity to ask questions. Are there any members of the general public who wish to provide public comment?
I am not seeing any hands raised.
Okay. With no public, sorry, did I miss something?
No.
Okay. With no public comment, we will move on to the presentation by the licensing staff of the city. The board has accepted the preliminary findings of the licensing staff into evidence. Do the licensing division or any other city staff wish to provide testimony, or do the preliminary findings represent the city's position?
At this time, the preliminary findings represent the city's position. This applicant has been very responsive and very patient in our processes. They've been great to work with.
Okay, does the applicant have any questions for city staff?
No, not this time.
Does the board have questions or comments for city staff?
I have a question.
Okay, Kevin?
This application involves using, not refining hemp, but using hemp that from other sources to make gummies and other such. What are the legal or security issues with shipping the hemp extract to this facility?
So everything that we source, Kevin, is derived from Colorado, and we work with other licensed facilities in the state.
Okay, I did see a reference to New York, that things would be sourced from other businesses that met health code requirements, including those of New York, and I think another state was mentioned. I don't remember exactly.
All of our hemp-derived isomers will be derived from Colorado. And then, yes, correct, we work with all safe harbor licensed facilities in the state.
Okay, I guess that doesn't match what I recall from the.
Kevin, can you remind us what page of the?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that myself. I didn't make.
I'm scrolling through.
I have it on 133.
Oh, okay. I was 2 pages away.
It is, does your supply come from a boulder? And if not, what location is the producing come from? And then it does state Colorado. And then at the end, the last is such as New York. It's in there. And I was curious about that too.
Are you just saying that it'll be produced in accordance with the same standards that a food safety program in New York would have been used to create the hemp extract. Did that make sense?
Zach, do you want to take that one? I don't know what is being referred to.
Yeah, sorry about that. My video is kind of cutting in and out. What was the question again? I heard something about New York.
Yeah, on page 133 of our packet here, in the middle, it asks where the supply of the hemp product is coming from. You said it's coming from Colorado and from other states established with food safety programs for hemp, such as New York. I'm curious on that because as far as I recall, with hemp and CBD products, as long as it's under 0.3% THC, it is compliant within that. But
well, this will be safe harbor hemp.
Okay.
So it will exceed that with the concentrate we'll use to, infuse our products with.
It will exceed that.
Yeah. Is that correct, Mike? For the concentrate we're using to infuse the products since we're safe harbor hemp?
Yes, it will, but everything that we're getting that's above 0.3 will be derived from Colorado. Nothing's coming from outside the state.
Okay, that's good. I wrote the application. So I'm a food safety auditor and I work with licensees in other states that are safe harbor hemp and everything. And I just wrote that to give us some wiggle room if we did want to source something from outside Colorado. We'd make sure they came from a good accredited state with a good food safety program. But Mike's the owner and he's saying only Colorado. So
and then if it is above 0.3%, would that be labeled and would that be advertised on the packaging?
Yes, it would be labeled and obviously kept inside the safe too per city code.
So the other part of my question was shipping this stuff even within Colorado. What are the security implications of? I mean, I don't know how strong this stuff is. Are there any security issues about shipping this oil around?
Not necessarily security codes, at least from our experience, but we would make sure that everything that we're getting from these other suppliers is coming in obviously intact, and then we would take it and keep it in our safes once we got it to our location.
But the shipping, you're just going to use commercial shipping.
Yeah, probably local carrier, one of our internal team picking it up, and then it would be considered what's called a work in progress, going from one facility to the next. And then again, as long as we're taking it in and keeping it in our facility in the secure warehouse, then we should be good.
Okay.
Those products are just staying within the state.
Correct. Yes. And then everything we produce will be below 0.3 Delta 9. So that allows us with our UPS account to then ship it from our warehouse to other safe harbor states.
Okay. Yeah.
You said Delta 9. Do you intend to produce other Deltas? Just curious.
Maybe a little bit. Honestly, the market's kind of moved away naturally from other deltas, but we may be doing some of the Delta 8s. That's kind of the only other prevalent cannabinoid that we'd be working with, and then CBD products, full spec and just isolated versions.
Thank you.
Adam?
Thank you. I actually had a question for staff, and this was about page 122 of the application. There is an entry for previous operational history and a compliance order on consent with the CDPHE that is referenced in there. And I guess I was just wondering if staff reviewed a copy of that order.
Yes, we did.
Um, and I trust it didn't raise any specific concerns that otherwise that would probably be discussed in the report.
Yes, we did review that, and we did take a look at that, and and that's part of the reason why we bring this to hearing, right? So you can ask the applicant about it. But we saw no issues moving forward with the facility here in Boulder.
Okay.
Yeah, and Adam, if I may on that, that was my previous company. So there was a CDPHE infraction in regards to our lab. Obviously, with us, we're not using any, solvents or anything of that nature. But that was my previous company that had that infraction with the CDPHE, and we are currently under a COC work order. We're about a month. We've already provided everything we're doing to change and rectify that, and then we're I think 2 months away from having that completely banished and caught up.
Okay, thank you. So then actually that kind of segs into there was another question at page 128, and this was the application. And there was disclosed a CDPHE issue at number 2. So is that the thing that was disclosed at number 2 on page 128 of the packet, is that the same that we just talked about it on page 122?
Yes, sir. That
Yes.
should be the only one. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Um, and then the other question I had is
Well, before
it
you
looks
go
like
on,
at the time of the application, still
before
on
you go
page
on, Adam,
128 for question number 1, it said, does the applicant have current state registrations for the hemp business from the CDPHE?
Mhm.
And at that time, the answer basically was no, that the license or the registration approval was pending. So I was wondering if that has been approved in the meantime.
Yes, it has been. We do have our CDPHE safe harbor and CDPHE food permanent license at this time.
Okie doke. Okay, great.
Yes.
And Kristen, I saw you nodding. It sounds like that's stuff that's in the file already.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, super. Thank you.
well, so Adam, I'm just on what you said was on question number 2. I'm seeing something written on question number 1, and there's a word handwritten that I cannot read. Maybe it's issue. I don't know. That he said they were approved and the something would be sent in the mail soon.
That word is license, Chair Kunzman.
License. Oh, okay. All right. And you didn't ask about this, Adam, but the previous tenant that I'm assuming that is none of you are related or have any association with the previous tenant.
No, sir. No, we do not.
And let me go back to other questions while I'm looking for a page here.
Was the previous tenant of the location also working with oils and infusing food product? Is it a similar setup there, or are you guys retooling the place?
No, luckily the infrastructure was perfect for what we're doing. We're not sure exactly what the previous tenant was utilizing the property for. It does seem like they were involved in some sort of infusion process just because of some of the stuff they had left behind. But we're not quite sure, to be honest.
Some of the labeling on the power fuse boxes had equipment that is used in infusion or manufacturing edibles too.
Okay, thank you.
So I have Googled, but I think there's no better experts in the room than some of the folks who are here, including the applicants' representatives. Can you just enlighten us all about safe harbor hemp?
Yeah. So Zach, do you want to take that one since you know it even better than I do?
Uh, yeah, I can. So safe harbor hemp is, intoxicating hemp by nature. You can make it, sell it in Colorado. So it's still, contains on a dry weight basis 0.3% THC, But yeah.
Yeah, and basically what the license allows us to
Yeah.
do is manufacture within the state and then ship to other states that allow intoxicating hemp molecules.
Mm-hmm.
And how many other states does that include?
It's majority. I want to say there's 7 that have kind of blacklisted the intoxicating hemp molecules, but majority of states are still open.
So guessing then that includes most of the neighboring states?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And sorry for asking a naive question, but is there any, like going back to the question that was asked earlier, is there any laws regulating interstate transportation or anything like that? Not that
Yeah,
it's really.
good question. With the oils, the concentrated oils there is, but again, with work in progress, we're allowed to basically transfer it from one facility to the next, and then all of the products that we create will be well below the zero point 0.3 delta 9 compliance for compliance.
Mm-hmm.
So once we have a finished product, then we can ship it across state lines with no issues.
And then another naive question. This is already approved by some state entity?
By CDPHE, Safe Harbor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just double checking. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure it was.
Of course. Of course.
So
Yeah.
it was a little confusing because the way that question was answered, and maybe it was the way it was asked. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just going to read in quotes, will only be sourced from CDPHE approved Colorado facilities or from states with established food safety programs for hemp, such as New York. Um, so I'm hearing two things, and I don't know if it even matters that much, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing, Mike, you're saying that it all comes from Colorado, but I'm reading between the lines also of what's said that it's from Colorado, but it may be from other source from other states too.
Yeah, we talked about that a little earlier. We tried to give ourselves wiggle room in case we did want to source hemp from New York or a
Okay.
state like it. That would be from a certified facility within that state that makes safe harbor products. But Mike's made the decision to only source from Colorado suppliers,
Okay.
and those will be CDPHE approved, just like we are.
Yeah, and part of our safe harbor, we actually are required to keep all of the records of the suppliers that we do source our oils from. So we that's part of the safe harbor. So we have to keep that on file and make sure they have their licenses and GMP and all that fun stuff.
Okay. I just wanted to have that real obvious in the record.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Other questions from the board?
I mean, I just marked that sort of for a similar question when you said such as New York. Is that just, were you saying New York being one example of a safe harbor jurisdiction, or were you sort of specifically thinking of New York, even if it was previously as a specific place where you might be bringing in oils from?
We just thought it would be a good general example because they have a program similar to Colorado where you have to be GMP certified and provide certain credentials to be able to make safe harbor products, as a opposed to a black market or something.
Okay, that answers my
Less
question.
reputable.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So
And then on the same, does anybody else have other questions? Okay, on the same page, which is 133, there's a question about the products and services to be provided by the business. And the way it was answered is only gummies and chocolates. And does that mean um, hemp derived chocolates, or I mean, is that what? I mean, you make chocolates independent of um, your hemp related product, or how? Tell me about that.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
So the vast majority, I would say 80% of our business is gummies. We do have a client that purchases, it's a chocolate infused cone. So it's almost like a little ice cream cone that's filled with chocolate. So we will be producing those. It's basically a chocolate product that we actually infuse the chocolate with the hemp derived oil.
Okay, and gummies, I'm rather than make an assumption, all of your gummies have some hemp, either CBD or THC or whatever, something in them. It's not just like vitamin gummies or anything, any other kind of gummies.
Correct. Yes. Not all of them are intoxicating hemp molecules. Like we do make some CBD ones for pain, CBG for focus, but there is some sort of cannabinoid base in the gummies. Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
With the moratorium on, safe harbor hemp products approaching in November, we're also, going to be transitioning more to like nutraceutical and just CBD products as well.
Correct.
So we have a GMP certification audit in March next month, and we've also added on CFR 111 for dietary supplements. So, we see ourselves becoming a dietary supplement manufacturer in the future
Okay, you
with those
threw
gummies and chocolates.
Yeah, it's our long-term goal.
Zach, that's great, but you used three terms that like um go spell out what you just said in English. Like pretend I like this. Somebody on city council once said, pretend I'm a golden retriever and talk to me like I'm a golden retriever. Um,
Um, okay. I'll try not to use the voice I use to talk to my pets at home, but
okay, all right. Then you
yeah,
have to say everything twice because people talk to
right.
their dogs twice or three times.
So GMP certification, is it's just a food safety standard similar to what you'd buy a loaf of bread at the store. And so we're achieving that next month specifically for hemp products from Perry Johnson registrars. And we've also added on another module, like another category to that certification,
That was a
which is dietary
nutraceutical.
supplement certification.
Yeah.
And that will cover our nutraceuticals. And a dietary supplement is essentially anything from, vitamin C to protein powder. It's a very broad, product category.
And these would, I'm presuming, would not include cannabinoids?
Eventually, that's going to be phased out with the current ruling by Congress.
Correct.
That's putting the
Hey
moratorium
Tom,
on
there's
these
a
products.
there's a little bit of background that I think the applicant is describing accurately, but
Okay.
in back in November of 2025, Congress
Mhm.
changed the definition of hemp under federal law,
Okay.
but the new definition doesn't go into effect until this November in 2026.
Mhm.
So there are products that can currently be manufactured under federal law that in November, if the law doesn't change further in November of this year, will no longer be permitted. In the meantime, Colorado allows Colorado hemp companies to manufacture certain products that cannot be sold in Colorado as long as they can be sold in the state to which they're being shipped. Because the hemp products can be shipped, since they're federally legal, they can be shipped, wherever as long as it's legal under state law. That category of products are the safe harbor hemp products.
Mhm.
So the thing that complicates all of this even further a little bit is on December 18th, 2025, there was the executive order to reschedule marijuana. It also talked about potential further definitions to the revision to the definition of hemp. But as far as, so that's something that the White House is interested in. But as far as whether there will be further revisions between now and November, we have to see what Congress does or what the White House maybe does through rulemaking.
Mhm.
So the world of hemp is a little bit up in the air right now because things are going to change in November and they may change between now and then. Uh, the assumption that I'm making is that the folks who are applying at the state and local level are doing that because they want to obey state and local law because they want to do things the right way. And so, I'm going to make an assumption that the applicant will stay on top of all these definitions and will talk to their legal advisors and will, comply with any changes that might come in the law. It sounds like that's what they were just saying when they were discussing, new product categories or adapting to potential changes. So, it's a dynamic area, but it sounds like the applicant is aware of the fact that the law is changing pretty rapidly.
Yes, correct. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. As well said.
Well said, yeah.
All right. Does anyone else on the board have, this is technically questions for the city staff, but we've been obviously just throwing the questions out. Anybody else on the board have questions specifically for city staff? Okay, then moving on. Does the applicant wish to present testimony or present evidence?
No, not this time. Thank you, Tom.
Okay. Does the city have any questions for the applicant?
Not at this time.
Okay, I know we've asked a lot, but does the board have any questions for the applicant?
I have one. Guess I'm looking at page 133 on the Perry Johnson registers. It said you were expecting an audit on February 4th. I'm just curious if that happened and what the result of that was.
So since then we've rescheduled to March
24th.
23rd and 24th. Just because of this, the application process with City of Boulder took longer than we expected, so we pushed it back.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm.
Other board questions for the applicant? Kristen, seeing none?
I'm not seeing any, no, sir.
Okay. Again, some of these may seem a little silly, but this is official. So, does the city wish to present any rebuttal evidence or testimony?
Not at this time, Chair Kunzman.
Does the applicant wish to present any rebuttal evidence or testimony?
Not this time.
Okay, any final questions from the board for the applicant? Okay, we're good, Kristen?
Yes.
Okay, with no further rebuttal, the testimony and evidentiary portion of this hearing is hereby closed. The board will now move into deliberation. Does any board member wish to kick off the deliberation? Adam?
So I liked hearing that the applicant is getting this GMP, good manufacturing practices certification. I think that's a good sign, and it is a rapidly changing, area of the law, but the applicant doesn't really control that. It sounds like, they're trying to do things the right way and that they'll stay on top of any potential changes in the law. So, based on those factors, I'm inclined to vote yes on the application.
Other comments or questions from the board?
I find this to be a pretty low impact sort of business. They're not doing extract from plants that would use solvents, not using a lot of energy. Doesn't seem like, I don't see any flags.
So, question for either Roberto or city staff with what Adam just described and the changing landscape, which probably will keep changing, I'm guessing. Will the applicant need to put in amendments or will they need to respond to anything that might come up in the future? And how does that play out with us?
Kristen?
Yes, certainly. So, staff, we monitor the legislative changes and such. So we're just going to be watching what that looks like, and then once that happens, it depends on, the city may make some changes, may not. But as long as he's licensed and he's following, and we do have inspections, whether they're scheduled or surprise, so we would be able to monitor the goings on and request reports and things like that. So we don't have any problems with the pending changes. Those will be monitored and watched for. We believe that they'll be compliant, and I don't anticipate any changes for this at this time.
I'm sure
But the
that,
regulatory landscape changes, right? So
yes, that's what I was assuming.
yeah,
Um,
we watch for it and adjust accordingly.
and I'm sure the applicant would know best, but Adam, you also have your finger on the industry. Is there any anticipated changes coming down the pike?
Um, well, I hope there will be changes to state law probably in 2027 though, because assuming that rescheduling of marijuana is completed in um 2026, and then if there are new hemp rules that come into effect, that would be a logical time to update state law. So, I think everyone in the cannabis industry, there's a lot of change going on, and I think that people just need to comply with the law as it's written right now, and then as there are changes, they'll have to adapt and comply with the changes. So, that kind of just seems like everyone in the cannabis industry is in the same boat in that regard.
Okay. And anybody else? I'd like to hear from each of you just to make sure that we're all, I mean, we don't have to be unanimous, obviously, but I just want to hear each person's thoughts. Jock?
Yeah, I think the applicants have a good understanding of where they're at with the time frame they have with this, and sounds like they have a potential plan if the current administration goes through with this. So seems well organized, in my opinion.
And I'm just going across my screen. The order might change for your own screens, but Lucas?
Yeah, I thought Kevin put it pretty well. It's a pretty low impact business. They're not doing any actual extraction. They're just receiving oil, adding it to gummies and chocolates. I don't see a lot of concerns with that. And like Jacques said, we expect them to continue complying with the law because they seem aware of the changes that are coming down the pike. So no concerns here.
Okay, Greg?
Uh, Seems to me these guys are paying close attention to what's going on. They know what they're doing. They didn't just cobble this together on a shoestring and seem like a good group of people. I don't see any flags or any concerns to allowing this to proceed.
Did I catch everyone? Kevin, you chipped in, I believe, right? So I just have a theoretical concern. And maybe because I just heard somebody in the past 24 hours, and this is totally admittedly a bad analogy. I'll just say that up front. But somebody was talking about the early days of the tobacco industry and how they seem to attract children and adolescents into tobacco. And I was just thinking about chocolate. And I mean, I know adults eat chocolate. I'm guilty of it myself. But I just was thinking about, combining chocolate and cannabinoids. And does anybody have any concerns about that, or am I just like totally off base? And I admittedly probably am off base, but
Tom, I think chocolate infused cannabis infused chocolate has been around for quite some time. To me, it's really no different than gummies. You're just taking, you're just putting the product into something that tastes great and is sugary and kind of covers up any, non-desirable flavors that might come from the cannabis or the oils. And, so to me, there's, the idea of it appealing to children, well, gummies would appeal to children too, other things, but that's why we have this whole structure built around the industry to ensure that minors aren't getting a hold of it directly and hopefully not indirectly as well.
mm,
That there have been adjustments to the law for packaging to make it
That's
child safe. So I know there was some early experiences with kids getting into gummies, and state law was changed to try and address that. I don't know how successful that was, but I know there was an issue and there was awareness and there was action taken.
yeah, there's if I may guys real quick, there's more and more states like Florida, for example, has came out and has banned a lot of these crazy color packaging and packagings that do appeal to children. So a lot of our brands, they follow those packaging requirements, and I know in the safe harbor there is some language in there also that talks about 21 plus and all sorts of different stuff on your packaging too.
Mhm. Thank you, Mike, for chipping in.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to hear somebody from the company who's being socially responsible.
I mean, a lot of it's just labeling and education because, you know, gummies and chocolates are just really popular product types. And, if it could only be in a flavorless paste or something, people wouldn't like it as much. But you have to let people legally manufacture products that people like, or otherwise consumers are just going to turn to the underground and it undercuts the legal market. So, I think people in the legal market need to be responsible, but they also need to be allowed to sell product types that the consumers want, because otherwise the underground market will fill the gap and it'll be less safe on the balance. The other thing is I think it's a valid question, but really, as far as these guys go, we just need to know, are they obeying the law? Did they meet the requirements? And it sounds like the answer to that is yes.
Okay.
I also just wanted to note that the previous license we just approved will definitely be selling infused chocolates and gummies at their establishment.
That was just less of an issue with them, I guess.
I suppose.
So I don't know the name of the organization, but there's some parental organization who's been concerned about gummies and lethal toxicity, or at least significant um, irreversible psychological toxicity, like actions that people might take. And it started after the person who came down from a state north of us took a good number of gummies and either fell or jumped or committed suicide off of a hotel, fifth floor hotel um, balcony. Is anybody familiar with that organization? I know Robin would have been, but
Didn't it have Jason in
I'd
the
say
name or
Robin would
something?
know. I think I've heard the story that you're referencing, Tom.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's a common story with marijuana products. I recognize, as Robin always points out to us, that there can be dangers and that um, that young developing minds and children and adolescents should not be exposed to it. And I think the industry seems to be working toward making that a reality the best that they can. But I feel like there's always going to be, you know, with other legal products as well. There are exceptional circumstances that happen based on the differences that we all have as human beings and our mental health and our biological makeup. So don't see it as a overtly uh, key concern in this matter.
Mhm. Well, Mike, since you were on a socially responsible kick, um, what would you guesstimate would be a significantly damaging toxicity level for like number of gummies? Um, what would it take? How many gummies would it take for an individual to have a significant problem?
Yeah, I mean, you'd really have to be eating packets of the gummies, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, we are dealing with the .3 Delta 9, so we have a cap with how much, oil we can actually pack into the gummy.
Yeah. So it'd be
So,
more like 100 or 20 or
yeah, I would
10
say,
or
yeah, 100 gummies at the level that we're intoxifying these, yeah.
Yeah.
And most of our brands are putting 10 gummies into a pack, right? So, I mean, you'd really have to be, you know, going for it.
Jock, you were gonna.
Yeah, I was just gonna say if you compare it to the way the dispensaries sell the gummies, where even recreational dispensaries cap it out at 100 milligrams per packet. So unless you have your or unless you have your medical card, but then people with medical cards tend to need higher doses, so then it's regulated differently in higher packets. But even in the state here, it's regulated on the recreational side, so that usually doesn't happen if someone gets a packet, they eat the whole packet. Most people would be capped out at a level that wouldn't cause them to go into some kind of psychosis.
Right.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be psychosis, but it's actually made the popular, I'll just say Apple TV has a TV show, Shrinking, and Derek 1, which is opposed to Derek 2, Derek mistakenly ate a bunch of gummies and had significant compromise, let's just say, and was out driving. And I don't, it doesn't say, how many or whatever. I'm just trying to prevent any future problems, that's all. But I'm not hearing any significant danger from this product.
That scene, I saw that scene as well. And they did actually say how much THC he consumed, and I
Oh,
think
that's
it
right, they
was
did. Oh, I forgot that.
1500. I think it was 1500 milligrams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
And
it'd be
then
150 gummies, Tom.
yeah,
Yeah,
and even in that scene, he didn't experience psychosis or any
no,
actual
no, he
medical
didn't.
event. He just was very confused as to why he was so high walking around the street.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think to
Tom,
consume 1500 milligrams, you would probably have
yeah,
a bigger problem on your hand besides
yeah,
being so high, which would be you would have a real stomach problem at that point.
Sure.
yeah. And Tom, our goal is to really help, produce products that help people, right? We're not trying to, get people whacked out of their mind. We're really trying to produce medicine and, products that are going to help people. So, and also the brands that we manufacture for, we're all trying to, abide by the state compliance, abide by the federal compliance. And, we want to be a company that will be here in 5 years, right? So just to know.
I like what you say, Mike, and I'm just so there was somebody on our board until this last meeting who I guess I'm speaking for her because she's not here.
Sure.
But we collectively love the fact that, you're going to be socially responsible. So,
Yeah, right.
Well,
and we're all on the same team.
Tom, check out though, because I know you really do like the science. If you look at some of the animal studies, there's not really sort of a lethal dose of THC. They've given these poor animals huge amounts of THC and really haven't killed them or permanently injured them. I mean, bigger doses than anyone would ever take. But if you think about, contrasting that to say alcohol, right, where, the effective dose of alcohol is say maybe one drink and then the lethal dose, it might be 20 times that or something. If you look at cannabis, maybe the effective dose is 5 milligrams or something. You can take 100 times that amount and it'll probably be unpleasant. I wouldn't recommend it, but you'll live and you're not going to be permanently disabled
Mm.
afterwards. So in that regard, if you kind of just compare the effective dose to some kind of dose where um, any kind of permanent issues would come up. And again, I'm not clear at all that from a single dose of THC there would be any permanent issues. I don't think that's even been established at all. But the safety profile in that regard is so much more favorable than alcohol in particular.
Well, thank you for Adam for pointing that out. I'm actually not worried about a lethal toxicity. It's just like alcohol. Not talking about lethal toxicity is what people do when they're under the influence, and like driving or making some decisions that they might not ordinarily make. And then the consequences of that, not the chemical itself, I guess, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying, Tom. It's definitely not as much about physically, you know, uh, ruining your body in a quick period of time. I think it's about um, when people ingest large doses, it can be overwhelming and, as Adam said, unpleasant. And how somebody copes with that unpleasantness is really what comes down to. And I think like I think I saw that shrinking, but I don't remember the scene exactly. But I think like a long walk or a soothing, uh, atmosphere with friends can be helpful to that. But there is always going to be the one-off and people who have different psychological makeups. And I think the rare instances where that discomfort might lead them to some potentially self-harming behavior. But I think that's more of an indicator of the person's overall mental health in regards to everything in life, as opposed to just being triggered by an ingestion of a high dose of THC.
Agreed.
Not a scientific answer, just my experience and opinion.
No, I agree. Okay. Any other questions for the applicant or with respect to he didn't quite make a motion, but he's close. Trying to get back to my agenda here. Anyone else?
I would go ahead and make a motion. So based on the written application, the report of staff, and the testimony and discussion that we've heard today, I would move to approve the application and issue the license.
All right. Second on that?
I second that.
Jacques. And let's do a roll call vote.
Member Foster,
Yes.
Member DiCarlo,
Yes.
Member Chair Kunzman,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gross,
Approve.
and Member Ewing.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay.
So, team, I will be able to get in touch with you over the next couple days. I did have a couple conversations earlier today about getting the inspection scheduled and getting you guys rolling.
Thank you guys. We're really excited to be part of your program.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, gentlemen.
Thank you for
Thank
all
you so
getting
much,
on.
everyone. Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So, Kristen, I was going to try to contact you before the meeting, but we have a third item on the agenda, but I did not see any paperwork on that.
That is correct. That it has been removed from the agenda at this time.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's trying to get back to the agenda then. Is there anything else on the agenda then?
Just adjournment.
Okay. And since this is not one of our standard meetings, will not have reports from
No.
Okay. Okay, just checking. Okay, anyone want to make a motion to adjourn? We're giving you back a lot of time for what you might have scheduled. So that's good. Anyone?
I move to adjourn.
Yes, the chair does not like to make motions, or it's not maybe supposed to even make motions, but anyways, thank you, Lucas. And a second on that?
I'll second.
Kevin, and anyone opposed or abstaining? I'm assuming we don't need a roll call vote for that one. Okay, well, thanks everyone. And when's our next, when do you anticipate is our next meeting then, Kristen?
The first Monday in April.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.